This is Boy Party. This week, Shane and I are discussing Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo in John Carney's 2014 movie, Begin Again. Welcome to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Boy Party, the podcast that tackles cinema's most legendary team-ups, movies where two or more major stars share the screen. This week, we are discussing John Carney's Begin Again, starring Mr. Mark Ruffalo and Ms. Keira Knightley, two Academy Award-nominated actors of whom I am a big fan. Lovely, charming people, lovely, charming movie, and a great opportunity to talk about them and about this type of film. I'm Lucien, and I'm joined by Shane. He is the cranky music producer.
Mm-hmm.
He
who pulled Boy Party out of the depths of despair and into the limelight.
He discovered me one night in a dingy bar. He said he used his imagination. He said, "Man, that voice, those talents, they've got potential."
I heard Bill Simmons in the chair beside you.
Yeah, exactly. This needs to be finely tuned. And I split off from my rock star boyfriend, and here we are. A great partnership. We also record all of our episodes out on the streets.
We do.
Annoying the neighbors.
Paying children to shut up.
And James Corden's actually our producer, and he sits on a laptop.
He's our best friend. Yeah.
He sits on a laptop.
Hey, James.
Around with things. Hi, James.
Hello.
Great English accent. Shane is sitting here with a towel over his head, and he's been talking about hot yoga for the last 25 minutes. I think that context is needed, because it might shape how the direction this conversation goes in.
I've mellowed out since the last episode. I'm a free spirit now.
You're a free spirit now.
Yeah.
So you're going to hot yoga tomorrow.
Yes. Let me just point out, I have not yet gone to hot yoga.
Yes,
I never have.
He's wearing a towel on his head as if he's just come from hot yoga.
No, I simply just showered, which is kind of the opposite of hot yoga.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, hot yoga is the anti-shower.
Yeah, I was told you're not supposed to eat anything for 3 hours beforehand, which now has me very, very scared.
Yeah, that would scare me.
It would. What is it, surgery?
Yeah, right? Or going for a swim with sharks or something.
Or like a colonoscopy?
Yeah, I don't know. I know what would help relax you after hot yoga.
Keira Knightley.
Watching the film Begin Again.
That too.
Yeah. Begin Again, also known as Can a Song Save Your Life? Which it was called, I think, in Spain or something. And then in France, they called it New York Melody. And I haven't thought about it too hard, but I'm gonna say New York Melody is the best of those three titles.
I think so, yeah.
It's not an amazing title, but Can a Song Save Your Life is like sweaty nonsense.
Yes.
And Begin Again is profoundly generic, and you have to basically say, Begin Again, the John Carney movie with Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo, or no one will ever know what you're talking about.
Read through a list of films recently, and I can't remember what it was for, but we were like, I don't know a single one of those or what any of them are about.
Yeah. Just films with generic titles.
Yeah.
Beginning. No, this is like an impossible name to remember. I remember trying to remember what this film was called 2 months before. I saw it before it was released. In a conversation, and I spent a whole day and I couldn't think of what it was called.
And like, there is a reasonably interesting like recurrence gimmick in this, but it's not core to the plot or like how the film is structured at all.
The film, kind of going back and forth in time for the first half, I suppose, is not significant enough to the premise of the film to be calling it something that kind of...
No, the film, it doesn't... Yeah.
The film thematically obviously has fresh starts in it, but so does like basically every film. And then the Begin Again also it's not a musical term. Are there not very specific musical terms for like, refrains and repeated things that to do with this film is about songwriting and recording and producing music. So I feel like there are a million options for...
Let's do another take.
Yeah, songwriting themed titles that would work better than Begin Again. Like anything to do with...
That's not a musical technical term. Like Terrence Fletcher isn't shouting Begin Again.
Yeah, at least New York Melody has something musical in it. Like the film is so deeply music based that I find it so peculiar that you would give it a name that doesn't imply there's any musicality involved at all. Nevertheless, New York Melody is in my opinion a very delightful watch. I've seen it about 5 times. I first saw it premiered at the Galway Film Festival 2014 and watched it probably every 3 or 4 years since then, and thoroughly enjoyed on every occasion. I think it's a film that basically couldn't fail with these two actors in it. It's sort of a like, oh yeah, you kind of hit the jackpot here with the incredible charisma and chemistry that exists between.
I mean, fail in what sense?
As in, I don't think you could make a charmless film with Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo as the two leads. I think you're kind of like, you're doing half the work with the casting there.
You throw them into New York in a music setting, you're going to.
And that's I think it's like a pretty good script and a well-made film on top of that. But I do think that you could make anything with these two and it would work for me because I'm a big fan of both. The premise is basically, do you want to describe to us what happens in this?
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo is down on his luck talent finder for a music record label. Hasn't found any new acts in about 10 years. Wanders into a cafe one day, sees Keira Knightley pop up and do an open mic session, and is like, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it.
That's kind of it. It takes a long time to get to that point.
It does, because it shows the same story 3 times from 3 different perspectives. It shows how Mark Ruffalo ended up in the bar. It shows how Keira Knightley ended up at the bar. And who's the third person?
That's kind of it. But it just starts with her, goes back to him, and then goes back to her again. It opens
with
her performing a song,
the performance at the bar,
flips to his day, and then flips back to her day. It does the exact same trick that La La Land does, where you go through, I don't know who's first in La La Land, but I think it's her. You go through her entire day that's led up to her honking the horn at him or being honked at on the freeway after they perform Another Day of Sun, and then you go back and see what his day was up till that point. It is not as effective a film as La La Land, I don't think. It's not trying to aim for the same heights of dazzling classic musical, but it does that thing pretty well, and just as effectively, I think, of the messing with time and seeing people's days. But anyway, it's it basically then becomes just like music, an album being made movie, and they are doing this gimmick where they're recording all the songs on the streets of New York. James Corden is in it as her friend and collaborator who kind of helps them with that. Mark Ruffalo's got this tense relationship with his teenage daughter. He's recently separated from her mother, Catherine Keener, and Hailee Steinfeld is the daughter. And Keira, has recently split up from her boyfriend, who is a recently exploded A-list star played by Maroon 5 frontman Adam Levine.
Who goes by the very funny lead singer name, Dave Cole.
And he has just blown up recently because his songs were in a movie, and we don't really get more information than that.
Yeah.
And then
the whole thing is Keira Knightley writes some of his songs. She's one of his songwriters, and he gets a bit too big for his boots and cheats on her immediately.
Yeah, cheats on her immediately with this woman from the record label. And
it's a weird parallel here to the network scene where is it William Holden?
Yes.
He's explaining to his wife, I've met this other woman.
Yeah.
I need to see it through.
Yes.
And Adam Levine's doing the same thing, but it doesn't have the same effect because
they're
both in their late 20s, early 30s.
There's no midlife crisis going on.
No, not
at all.
Also,
what Adam Levine does is that he plays her a song he has written.
Oh, God.
In which he confesses his affair, basically.
Yeah, he rocks up one evening and is like, do you want to hear a new song I wrote? And she's like, oh, yeah, of course. And then it's like,
so the song
I cheated on you.
Yeah, the song is basically, I cheated on you. So I'm looking here at what the song is called. So the songs in this film, you got Lost Stars, Tell Me You Want to Go Home, Tell Me If You Want to Go Home, No One Else Like You. Is that the song? Or is it Higher Place? No, it's not. That's It Takes You to a Higher Place.
Oh, that's it, I think.
And Time. Is that it?
I think so. Because he's on about this new person takes you to a...
Oh, maybe it is. Okay, so that's
place.
A higher place.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, and he basically confesses that he cheated on her through a song. And they're sitting there. He's kind of staring at the floor in the kitchen as they listen to the song. And then I think at a certain point she snaps and slaps him in the face or something.
Yeah.
Or splashes water on him or something. Anyway, great scene.
And then he accuses her of, wow, you can really read my mind.
Yeah, exactly. So the...
But he does this weird shitty thing where he sets her up where it's like, this affair is obviously not going to work out and I'm going to crawl back to it at some stage.
Yeah, he admits that from the offset.
Yeah.
I mean, we are led to believe that's going to happen. And then her and Ruffalo never actually get romantically involved. They kind of just bond and connect. And I like this.
I think that is
connect.
a major reason why this is actually remains charming.
Yes, and the chemistry between them remains I guess it kind of remains surface level in a good way because they never actually pursue anything. They just kind of hang out and listen to music together and walk around like with a headphone splitter, and it's great.
Like he's kind of using Keira Knightley to address both his relationship with his daughter and his wife at the same time.
The exact midpoint.
She's the midpoint between the two of them, where she's young enough to kind of do the daughtery things, but also old enough to kind of listen to his complaints about him and his wife and his marriage. So.
Like the worst scene in the film is when, and the biggest weakness of the film, I think we agree, is the daughter relationship, which I think is entirely misguided. And I think the worst scene in the film is when he basically gets Keira to intervene in his tiff with his daughter to be like, you should start dressing more appropriately for your age. And it's completely like out of character for Keira to be bringing this up to the daughter. And also it just seems like, why would I listen to this like lame 29-year-old who hangs out with my dad more than I listen to my own parents?
Because she used to date the biggest rock star in the world.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess if Adam Levine's ex-girlfriend came to you with advice, would you listen if you were a 15-year-old girl? I don't know. Maybe.
Like it... And it's not seen as like an objectionable stance to hold at any point. No one challenges it. This just seems to be like, yes, this is a morally correct thing within the film.
Yeah,
and
the film is very like anti the daughter in a way that I think is like weird and kind of unnecessary. And like the only resolution,
it's like she kind of bears the brunt of the anger he has for like everyone else,
and for the wife especially.
The wife especially.
All his issues with his wife are kind of channeled through his issues with the daughter, and then the daughter like playing guitar on the record is her moment of like emotional resolution, which I don't think is particularly satisfying. I think Hailee Steinfeld's kind of bad in this. She's like a good actress, but she's not great in this. She also like doesn't sing any songs, which is so weird because like
she's a pop star.
Less than a year after this film comes out, she's releasing pop music. Yeah. But that does happen after this. I wonder, does like hanging out on this set inspire her to want to pursue a musical career? Could be interesting. Weirdly, I think James Corden is pretty good in this. I mean, not a lot is asked of him, but he is not annoying and he makes the role work. Like, I think James Corden being widely disliked as a talk show host and general celebrity is perfectly reasonable. But I think people maybe underestimate the fact that he is quite a good film actor when he's working with good directors.
This film does a good job of like casting several men who like at no point seem to have like romantic interest in Keira Knightley.
Yeah, true. I mean, it is funny, this film. Like you would look at this cast, you go, James Corden, Adam Levine, and Cee Lo Green.
Yeah.
Kind of one of the most cursed trios you can come up with.
Yes.
And I don't think any of them are a burden on the film at all. I know you weren't as you weren't as content with Adam Levine's performance as I am. I think he's fine in this. It's good casting. Like, I don't know who else.
No, I agree. I think he's good, but I think it's kind of an accidental good.
It's not right. Yeah,
it's the right character for him, and I don't think it would translate into him doing any more dramatic work.
Sure. Maybe it's not a direct comparison, but maybe it's the equivalent of like the Kneecap Boys playing themselves.
Maybe a little
where
bit.
You're like, like you can certainly do this where you're just kind of basing this on your own experiences. I don't know if this would work in any other context.
They do an absolutely phenomenal job of like demonstrating when Adam Levine goes from kind of famous to really famous.
Yes,
because he goes from kind of goofy looking to really handsome. Like
he literally flips in one scene. It's interesting, and I'm looking at him. And I'm like, Adam Levine is an interesting case of someone. I don't think he's an unattractive man.
No,
but I see him in so many scenarios where I find him utterly repulsive.
Sure,
like he's so gross and off-putting when he's styled a certain way or when he behaves a certain way.
Yeah.
I'm pretty anti Adam Levine in general. Like, I don't like his music. I don't like him. But then he shows up in this. I'm like, I have some affection for you as like a relic of the mid 2010s, you know?
Yeah. And ultimately he has a bit of presence. So he's going to be something interesting when he shows up in these kind of things. Like,
we talked about it on the Whitney Houston episode and probably Lady Gaga. Like, I'm always a fan of big musical stars showing up in films. It's always fun. Like, I don't know.
As long as it's not I like when they play like characters within it and not just playing themselves.
Oh, of course. Oh, sorry. Playing yourself is like not
Ed Sheeran Yesterday is not good.
Ed Sheeran Yesterday is terrible. Ed Sheeran Yesterday is like the anti-version of this.
Yes.
Where it's like, I'm Ed Sheeran. No. Ed Sheeran, if Ed Sheeran was in Yesterday playing like Tommy fucking Bristol, the English singer-songwriter, and he had like a little bit of an arc where he was like sleeping with Lily James or something, like then you'd have yourself an actual character.
James Corden in Yesterday?
No, there's a scene that was cut out of Yesterday where James Corden had Himesh on his show with Ana de Armas.
Yeah.
So James Corden was cut out of it as well as Ana de Armas, but no one took him to court over that. But yes, I think Adam Levine in this is fun. I think it's hilarious that like this whole thing and this casting ended up happening. The word here is basically in terms of the development of this film. John Carney starts developing it based on his own experiences as a member of the Frames and his experiences dealing with record labels and A&R men. And then he gets Judd Apatow on board as a producer, which I think is a really good move for John Carney after once. Like, Judd Apatow was like the most powerful man in Hollywood for like 4 years and was producing loads and loads of comedies on a spectrum of like teen gross out stuff to like very sincere adult comedy dramas. And I think that this movie probably was as effective as it was because they got money, cast, and ideas probably from the Apatow camp a little bit. But also the Apatow shit is also like Cee Lo Green showing up as himself. That is the most Judd Apatow celebrity stunt casting.
I don't know why I went to Ed Sheeran. Cee Lo Green is in this.
Cee Lo Green in this.
But he's not. He's
not in it enough that he's not playing himself.
He's playing a character called Troublegum.
Yes. If this was Knocked Up or This Is 40, he'd be playing Cee Lo Green.
Yeah.
He'd be like, Cee Lo Green, what are you doing here? Like, Judd Apatow's relationship with celebrity cameos is basically The Simpsons.
John Carney actually probably just like said no.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, you have to play a character. Yeah. So Apatow gets involved, and the film only costs $8 million.
That's very good.
Carney's first idea was to cast a real pop star such as Adele in the Keira Knightley role. Adele doesn't compute to me as the counterpart to this character. So I wonder, did he shape the style of the music and the? Well, I mean, this is like John Carney music, but does even though Greg Alexander wrote most of the songs, but does the style of the music, the obviously the look she has, all of that is kind of seems shaped around Keira Knightley. Like you wouldn't put Adele drop her into this with these songs.
Dingy Cafe with James Corden.
With these kinds of like indie folky songs.
Yeah, but then again, Lady Gaga doesn't do her own shtick in Star Is Born.
She doesn't. Well, she kind of does though. Lady Gaga had a country album. Like she? Okay. Like Joanne is Star Is Born-y kind of music. Okay. I know the character of Ali doesn't have Lady Gaga's big personality.
No.
But I would say Adele's whole shtick is that she sings ballads and she can hold a note. Like none of the songs in this would play to her strengths.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is that she's not meant to be a great singer.
Yeah. Scarlett Johansson was attached to the project at one point. I'm much happier with Keira Knightley. Scarlett Johansson sing? Yeah, she does sing. I'm just a bigger fan of
Keira Knightley's got a silliness to her that I'm not sure.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson and Ruffalo actually don't have great chemistry in my opinion. They're a couple in some of the Marvel movies. They're matched together, and I don't think that there's a lot going on there.
I think there might be other factors at play there, but
maybe. There are strong disagreements over the Israel and Palestinian situation. I don't know. Keira Knightley prepared for the role, training with a vocal coach. Mark Ruffalo was the first choice, which is a good shout. Mm-hmm. Adam Levine was the only person Carney considered casting as Dave and won the role after talking with Carney over Skype. He declined to be paid for appearing in the film. Begin Again marked his first role in a film, although he had minor acting parts on television before. Sorry, I'm not aware of his minor acting parts on television.
Showed up in Grey's Anatomy for half an episode or something.
He is in, let's have a look. Beverly Hills 90210. He plays himself. Mm-hmm. He plays himself in 30 Rock. He plays himself in CSI. He plays himself on... 2012, he's in 3 episodes of American Horror Story as a character called Leo Morrison.
Okay.
That's the only acting he's done otherwise.
I think that qualifies you for a John Carney movie, given you're a big pop star.
You know who else was in that? Lady Gaga. Very good. And then James Corden was cast after Carney admired him in One Man, Two Governors. I mean, everyone who's ever said anything good about James Corden, it's because they saw him in One Man, Two Governors, a play I have not seen, but I'm sure he's very good in it. And the songs were written by Greg Alexander. I have a playlist on Spotify called Greg Alexander Core that is music written by, and sounds like it could have been written by, Greg Alexander. Greg Alexander being the guy from the New Radicals, which I think whatever the fucking song is called, You Get What You Give, is a great song.
Yeah.
And then he also wrote Ronan Keating's Love It When We Do, and he wrote songs in this, and he just has a very specific type of music that like hits the minor chords that I find satisfying.
Do you think the music is dated in this?
Yes, it is dated. I don't think the music in this would sound like this if it was being made today. But I also think maybe.
But I feel like it was dated for 2014. Like this is.
They were saying this, but I don't know what this music sounds like to me. It sounds like Greg Alexander music, I guess, which was kind of a 2003 thing. But maybe the idea...
I don't know. It has an arrangement and type of like New York softness to it that I associate with like mid 2000s.
Yes, it is more mid 2000s
music that's recorded on videotapes and stuff like.
But maybe the idea was that this was going to be bringing that back.
Yeah.
Maybe Keira Knightley's character, whose name I desperately don't know, Greta something. Greta James. Maybe the idea is that Greta James is going to be the new rebirth of that type of music.
It's never phrased as that.
And like Adam Levine is obviously having a big... Dave is obviously having a big moment as doing this kind of thing. There should be a scene where Mark Ruffalo says to Dave, "I told you, Dave, I never lose." Puts his sunglasses on. There are some fun scenes with Ruffalo at the music label that do remind me, record label that do remind me a bit of Alvin and the Chipmunks, where he's bickering with Mos Def, the Dave Cross of this movie. And then also Simon Delaney, which was an incredible cameo. I managed to keep from Shane the entire film. And then, the last 10 minutes, Simon Delaney shows up doing an American accent.
For like 30 seconds.
He's in one shot that could easily have been done in Dublin.
Yes, because nobody else is in the shot.
No one else in the shot. So I think Simon Delaney's shot was done in Dublin, and then they green screened in the office and stuck it in there.
It's so jarring.
It's very jarring. Like, to an American, you wouldn't even think twice about it.
No.
But you can't just put Simon Delaney in an American film in a scene with Mark Ruffalo and not expect me to go, whoa, 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 what? But yeah, the film ends anyway with you kind of expect Greta and Dave to get back together. She goes to Dave's concert and he sings Lost Stars for her in this way that she has arranged it. So she
wrote Lost Stars the night he won his Grammy or his pretend.
I think so. His pretend, his fake Grammy.
His fake Grammy.
His music icon award.
Or it's like a Nutty or something. That's what it's called. Yeah.
And
she sends it over in a voicemail and then he takes it and turns it into something else.
Yeah. And he basically does a rearrangement of it, which is absolute dog shit. Like,
just full band all the way through.
But it's also, he speeds it up. It's like, are we all lost stars? Like, it loses all of its substance. And then at the end of the movie, she goes to see his gig. He plays it the way she intended. And then they make eye contact and he's delighted she's there. And then he looks back and she's gone. And she's cycling through New York, not worried about him, not worried about Ruffalo. We do see during the credits there's some scenes played of her and Ruffalo kind of like launching her album and putting it up on Bandcamp, and a really bad distribution strategy.
Yeah, she's dealing with the studio and they're like, you get 10% of sales. And she's like, fuck why? I recorded this myself. Yeah.
So she does this like pay what you want in rainbows fucking hang on
up for a dollar,
Bandcamp, which is just not a good idea and would not make you a big star. But whatever. But they get Cee Lo Green to tweet about it.
Yeah.
Probably the least offensive thing that was on Cee Lo Green's Twitter that year. And they therefore are able to get exposure and apparently does well.
So it's thousands and thousands of copies.
But it's a good ending.
It is. I think the entire
always good. I think it's always good when a movie ends with the woman deciding not to get with either of the men. Like, it's like, yeah, fuck these guys. Like,
I did. Like, I thought for a second she was going to be like Adam Levine.
Oh, it seems like she's going to, yeah.
And the entire thing would fall apart if she did.
But the film has also kept Adam Levine just enough on the right side of being irredeemable that. Like, the film...
Like, he's irredeemable to people watching the film. But, like, when you kind of understand that if you went out with someone for 5 years and they pulled this shit, you'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, you can see a world where she can justify getting back with him and it doesn't totally spoil her character.
Yeah.
But you're also, like, rooting against it because he's Adam Levine and he's slimy. And he knows that and he's playing into it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's how it ends. Good ending.
Yeah.
So... one Oscar nomination for Best Original Song. I completely forgot I got an Oscar nomination. I feel like this film did not make that much of an impact, but it did. Lost Stars was nominated, and Adam Levine performed it at the Oscars.
He performed it.
Could have fooled it. Could have fooled me. Yeah, I mean, getting Adam Levine on the Oscars in 2015 would have been the entire reason for nominating the song.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would have wanted to see Keira Knightley performing.
It is. It's. I found it to be a very fun movie trick to cast the ex-boyfriend as a slightly better singer that sings her song, so you get two versions of each song.
Yes, and two good versions that they can put up on Spotify and people will listen to them. Yeah. But she's a good singer.
She's not bad. I think
she's good.
I don't think she would have. She's a bit quiet.
Sure, but
she's not meant to be a good singer.
No, she doesn't have an amazing voice. Like Adele or whoever would have obviously made these songs, made more of the songs, but whatever. Keira Knightley is a very good actress, I think. I have many times had to argue with people about this. I think that a lot of people have negative feelings towards her that I don't understand or agree with. I guess she was maybe overexposed at a certain point in the mid-2000s where she became a bit of like a everywhere, all at once tabloid personality in every film, constantly just dominating the culture, and people were like, Keira Knightley. But like, I have loads of time for Keira Knightley. I feel like I'm one of the last remaining Keira Knightley fans where I'm like, a new Keira Knightley movie, I'll watch that the day it comes out.
It sounds like a very specific, like, mid-2000s people getting angry at a one for doing well.
It does, yeah. But I also feel like I know lots of people who just have like inherently negative reaction when her name comes up.
And it's not correct.
It's not correct. No, she's a good actress. She seems like a nice person, and I have no issues with her at all. She is in this interesting position now in 2024, not to work backwards, but she's basically now, her whole career is independent British period dramas. Every year, she's in something that is like her imitation game character getting a spin-off. There's always some new Keira Knightley plays a woman who was a whistleblower during World War II. Oh, she plays a woman who was a MI5 leak. Oh, she plays a woman who was an author in 1880 who had a secret lesbian lover. Like, she seems to do like just this constant flow of kind of boring 3-star British period dramas that get released by studio
never watch.
Studio Canal or Altitude, and Matthew Good is always the love interest, or Rupert Friend. Like, just fake movies. Like, they're not bad, but they are not real. They're not real films. My guess is that she is taking these roles because these films are probably shot down the road from her house.
Yeah.
They probably let her bring her kids to the set. Mm-hmm. She probably gets a producer credit, and she probably gets a fucking sign off on the script. And honestly, for someone who probably got horrible treatment in Hollywood in the 2000s at the peak of awful bullshit, nasty male producer tabloid, like, this is a woman who sued the Daily Mail for talking about her weight before, you know, like, she probably went through,
and she won.
Yeah, she won. Absolute queen. She probably went through the run of it so much with horrible bullshit, dealing with crap, that I'd say she is now in a position where she just likes producing these £10 million period dramas every 2 years to keep working, keep herself in cinemas. And she hasn't done anything particularly dreadful on TV, like, she hasn't really sold out. She doesn't
really have anything to prove to anyone.
No, she's kind of had her, I think she fully understands she's past her peak of fame and is probably more than happy to allow that to remain as it is. Like, is she ever going to get her third Oscar nomination or win an Oscar at this point? Probably not.
Unless one of these British period dramas kicks off.
Yeah, unless one of them is like really, really great. Yeah. And like, given the directors she works with, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, she seems to have actually more interest in doing big, prestige-y things on stage, although she hasn't done anything now in about 9 years. But she did Therese Rakin in The Roundabout in New York. She did The Children's Hour. She did The Misanthrope. Like, she was working with good theater directors. She is in an upcoming Netflix series that she's the star of. I know.
Okay.
With Ben Whishaw.
Okay. Fine.
It is the exact premise that I've just been describing for the last 10 minutes of like MI5 whistleblower, but I think it's modern day. Catherine Hunter, Ben Whishaw. It sounds fine. Tracy Ullman's in it. It sounds okay. I would rather her do movies, but like, whatever.
Is it a run around kind of thing, or is it like a?
I don't know if it's a desky thing or a run aroundy thing. It's created by the guy who did. Oh God, he made shit I've never seen. The Lazarus Project. He directed this new Mark Wahlberg Halle Berry movie that came out yesterday that we're not covering because it looks shit. Okay, I don't know. Anyway,
put her in a Mission Impossible.
Yeah, put her in a Mission Impossible. Like, that's the thing. She's kind of just like slightly too uncool now to be getting roles that are offered to Vanessa Kirby, Rebecca Ferguson, Emily Blunt. Even though she's actually like the same age as, well, Vanessa Kirby's younger, but the other two I'd say are probably the same age.
Yeah.
She's still really young. I mean, she's under 40, which is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because the thing to remember about her is she was 17 in Love Actually and the first Pirates of the Caribbean. She was 16 in Bended Like Beckham. Like, she was so young starting out.
Yeah, no wonder you're doing period dramas when you spent many years of your early 20s working on Pirates of the Caribbean films.
Exactly.
Like,
and like, you know, those Pirates of the Caribbean films, she was the thing with her is interesting to me is, I guess, she plays two extremes. She either plays like modern rom-com woman, or she plays woman from 200 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's not really an in-between. Like, you're not going to see her showing up in, like, a 70s or 80s thing, really. But anyway, interesting face where you're like, yes, you have such a like perfect model face that we're either going to put you in Begin Again or Love Actually, or we're going to put you in something that's set in the deep past. But you just don't look like people looked in the mid 20th century.
It's not.
I mean, I say this, and then like half her films are probably in the 20th century. So whatever, ignore me. But she is in.
Ignore everything we say on this podcast.
What?
Ignore
everything I say. It's all nonsense. She's in Star Wars: The Phantom Menace as fake Natalie Portman, and she's in Thunderpants, and she's in Meta Like Beckham, and then she's in Pirates of the Caribbean. And I think she's so good in those Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I think everyone's good in them. Again, I feel like people like didn't like her in those in the 2000s. I remember my child friends as a child being like, she's very annoying, and though she's always pouting. It's like this fucking bullshit about how she's always pouting. People talked about Keira Knightley the way people should have been talking about Emma Watson in Harry Potter. That's the thing. She is the annoying version of this type of actress. Everything bad people say about Keira Knightley, Emma Watson, who I'm sure is a nice person, but as an actress kind of deserves. I feel like Keira Knightley is like a 10 times better actress than Emma Watson.
Why were parents of your young child friends letting them read the Daily Mail?
Well, no, I don't think they did. I think the kids went to
were
see
they
Pirates of the
picking this
Caribbean.
up organically?
The parents were probably saying it.
Okay.
My parents were probably saying it. Everyone was saying it. I don't know. She is in...
She's such a pretty person.
I know. She's in King Arthur 2004. She's in The Jacket with Adrian Brody. Then she gets her first Oscar nomination for Pride and Prejudice, which is kind of like the perfect role for her. And then she's in... But then she's already making interesting stuff because she's in this Tony Scott movie, Domino, where she plays a fucking... bounty hunter with Mickey Rourke, which we must watch. It looks fun. I've never seen it. People love it. And then she does 2 more Pirates movies. Then she gets her second... Wait, does she get an Oscar nomination for Atonement? No, she doesn't, which is weird because everyone else does. Saoirse Ronan gets an Oscar nomination, but Keira Knightley doesn't. I do feel like Saoirse Ronan is like the thing that kind of like explodes from Atonement. I don't remember people being particularly keen on Keira Knightley and James McAvoy. And that's a good boy party movie we could do someday. She is in The Duchess, and then we're just on to like all the period drama shit. And she's in A Dangerous Method, Anna Karenina. She is in this pretty good movie called Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, which is her and Steve Carell, which is fun. Which is a Lorenz Scafaria movie where basically there's an apocalyptic event and the two of them are kind of driving around listening to music in the car. It's very like baby's first platonic relationship between a 40-year-old man and a 25-year-old woman movie, but it is also very does
she function better
charming
when she's dealing with these 20-year-old platonic relationship men?
I think so, yeah. Maybe it brings out the best in her to be with like Steve Carell and Mark Ruffalo rather than like Orlando Bloom. But is that just that they're better actors and she's like she deserves to be in movies with Steve Carell and Mark Ruffalo. She is a good actress. I think casting her opposite Orlando Bloom is like, and kind of James McAvoy maybe is like underserving her talents a bit. I don't know.
Potentially.
Like she's in Anna Karenina with like Aaron Taylor Johnson. Like that's unfair. That sucks for her. She's in Jack Ryan with Chris Pine. Imitation Game with Cumberbatch she's the best thing in that film by a country mile. Cumberbatch is not good in it. He's doing complete nightmare. I'm Sherlock, but I'm gay and I'm also autistic and everything's turned up to 10, and she keeps that film grounded. And I remember being like, whoa, this pretty crappy film is functioning on Keira Knightley's charms here. And then the slop starts. Then we're talking Collateral Beauty, where she plays the concept of love, because Will Smith is, of course, visited by death, love, and something else, and she's love. And then she's in a bunch of just like Colette, Official Secrets, The Aftermath. Misbehavior is pretty good. I've seen that one. That's about like a beauty pageant that goes crazy in the 60s. Greg Kinnear plays Bob Hope with a big fake nose.
Is that an American thing?
It's set in London, but Bob Hope is hosting the event. I don't know why. Jessie Buckley's in it as well. And then she's in the last film she was in was last year was Boston Strangler, which was terrible with her and Carrie Coon and Chris Cooper. Which really wasn't good and went direct to Hulu and was not. But I was so excited at the prospect of her and Carrie Coon
that sounds fantastic.
As like a journalist duo, and that film is just flat. So that's Keira Knightley's career. Now, worth noting that, and this all got resolved, but following this film being released, Mr. Carney did come out and say that he didn't enjoy working with her. He said. Let me just find the quote here. He said, I'll never make a film with supermodels again. I think with Keira, it was like asking her to do something that she could not do. He said his experience wanting to make Sing Street came from his experience of working with, let's face it, a model on my last film. Now, I think the issue with this, and he apologized and she accepted his apology, that's all fine. I think and she said she wasn't surprised he said this because they didn't get along when they were making the film. It's just funny to me because, like, people got mad when he said this for obvious reasons because he was saying this about supermodel, actress, all this. But I also think she's, like, really good in the film, and, like, the film only works because she's so good in it. So it's, like, especially egregious to kind of, like, pick on the supermodel actress when she is giving a really good performance. Like,
it's also a very strange thing to come out and say when there's a theme running through the film of cover yourself up.
Yes, it is. Yeah, exactly. To be, like, picking on the model. But also, like, your movie has a number of non-professional actors in it.
Yeah.
Like Adam Levine and Cee Lo Green, and you're choosing to pick on the very talented Oscar-nominated actress in the lead role for being a supermodel. Like,
you're getting a lot of help on this film from, like, Judd Apatow.
Yeah.
And, like...
So, like, getting on with her shouldn't have been that difficult. But look, it's all resolved, but it is interesting that when he said this, a lot of other directors that have worked with Keira Knightley, people like Mark Romanek and Lynn Shelton, came out and immediately were like, no, she's actually really good and she's really easy to work with. Yeah. So this is not a reputation she has gathered. This was just the two of them having beef, I think. And you know what?
But again, if you have beef on set, don't come out and fucking talk about it.
Yeah, I know. There was no need to
no.
But anyway, Mark Ruffalo is also very good in this film. Mark Ruffalo is always good in everything because he is great and I love him and he's a delightful person.
I agree.
He is a little bit now kind of stuck in slop world just because of playing Mr. Hulk. But I feel, God, I used to make the Mr. Hulk joke constantly.
Why?
As in, back in, like, peak Marvel 2012 to 2015, I used to just constantly refer to the Hulk as Mr. Hulk.
That's fine.
It's an okay joke. It's not that funny. He doesn't actually play the Hulk that often. And when I tell you the projects he's got coming up, you're going to be like, Mark is back.
Yeah.
But, like, he also just does TV. Like, he's done this fucking... he did this show, I Know This Much Is True, where he played, like, twin brothers on HBO that I really did not enjoy.
I heard of you.
He was in fucking She-Hulk. His film career the last couple of years really hasn't been that great. Like, all he's been in... Well, that's not true. He's in Poor Things, and he's really good in it. I forgot he's in Poor Things.
He's in Poor Things.
I forgot that was Mark Ruffalo. I truly, like, have been thinking about him the last couple of days and completely omitted Poor Things from my memory, despite him just getting an Oscar nomination.
Once again, do not listen to anything we say on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We're full of shit. He has a great film career if you take out the good things. Because he's in You Can Count on Me, and he's in The Cut, and he's in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He's in Collateral.
Okay.
He's in Zodiac, which he's fantastic in. Reservation Road is an interesting one. That's a Terry George movie. I started watching the Irish filmmaker. I started watching that the other day. He kills Joaquin Phoenix's son with his car, and then they have to, like, work out how that's gonna affect them morally. He's in The Kids Are All Right. I don't like him in. That film's not very good. Shutter Island, Margaret. He's great in Margaret. Everyone's great in Margaret. We forgot to mention it on our Matt Damon discussion. Then he gets cast as the Hulk, and then you're talking The Avengers, Iron Man 3, Avengers Age of Ultron, boring. And he pops up in all these things. He is good in them. It's a really good bit of casting. And he's especially good in, like, the first Avengers and then Avengers Endgame. I think he's a lot of fun in the two.
Keira Knightley ever end up in Avengers?
Oh, and she never did. Never in any superhero movies. It's amazing. That's another great plus for her. Like,
later.
I feel like her and Saoirse Ronan are, like, the only actresses of that ilk who never did. Like, really good. But he does fun franchise stuff because you know what he's in? He's in Now You See Me and Now You See Me Too as Agent Dylan Rhodes, where he's just this kind of, like, frustrated cop who's, like, chasing around the magician gang, and he's so good in it. He is in Foxcatcher, which he's great in. Like, the man has a bunch of Oscar nominations, which are for the following projects. I'm annoyed he hasn't won an Oscar yet. I think it's silly. 4 nominations for Best Supporting Actor, which is funny. 4 for supporting. Yeah. Kids Are All Right, Foxcatcher, Spotlight, and Poor Things. Spotlight should have been a relatively easy one for him to win. I don't really understand how.
I always thought he was the lead of it.
They put him in for supporting. I think they put him and Keaton in for supporting deliberately. Okay. He lost to Mark Rylance in Bridge of Spies. That kind of sucks. Like, especially because Mark Rylance wasn't even the front runner that year. Stallone was the front runner for Creed. Stallone pisses everyone off so much because, you know, he's been an asshole for 50 years that they give it to Rylance. But Mark Rylance in Bridge of Spies, perfectly good performance. But Mark Rylance is not even like a full-time film actor.
It's a relatively inconsequential film.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I think Spotlight is a relatively inconsequential film too. But it did win Best Picture. And Mark Ruffalo is really good in Spotlight. And he gets his big scene. Yeah. They knew, and they did nothing. Like, that's like the iconic Mark Ruffalo performance.
Yeah.
Foxcatcher, that nomination's a bit silly. I mean, that's the great supporting actor year. The Ethan Hawke, J.K. Simmons, Robert Duvall, and Edward Norton. Mm-hmm. He's not the best performance in Foxcatcher by a mile. And then Poor Things, like, I guess maybe there's an argument that he should have won that Oscar as well. Like, we loved him in Poor Things. He loses, obviously, to Robert Downey, who has, you know, subsequently kind of pissed everyone off. So
by going back to play Mr. Doom.
Yeah. I think Ruffalo is great in Poor Things. He's the best thing in it. Like,
yeah,
it's Duncan.
It's film I've grown colder on since.
Me too,
it.
but he's the one part of it I haven't. Duncan Wedderborn,
because he's just a nice guy.
So good. He's just
silly,
goofy, silly guy. But
is he in Stillwater or one of those?
No, he's in
Dark Waters.
Dark Waters.
You
know this. You're always asking me, is he in that?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be always asking if I
Dark Waters is
Dark
the
Waters.
last real movie he was in before Poor Things. And he, of course, has to investigate lead in the water with Bill Camp and Tim Robbins. An excellent performance. He has since been in Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson, which is out in January, where he plays a character called Hieronymus Marshall. Which sounds like a very Poor Things-y casting. Mm-hmm. And he is going to be soon in Now You See Me 3. But here's the two things I'm really excited for. These are the two very good projects he's in. 2 TV projects, in fact. Rare that I'm excited for TV projects. Number 1, he is the star of the upcoming TV series Hal and Harper, written by, and starring Cooper Raiff.
Okay.
Where Mark Ruffalo plays the father of 2 siblings who are being made grow up so fast that these child characters are played by adult actors. So Mark Ruffalo is the dad. Lily Reinhart and Cooper Raiff are playing the 7-year-old and 9-year-old kids, but as adult actors.
Yeah.
But the characters are kids. It's a bit of
just sit in like a child's classroom.
Yeah, it's a Clifford situation.
Yes.
And there's a trailer out for it that's like 30 seconds long. It's just lots of flashes of Ruffalo and Cooper Raiff and Lily Reinhart just kind of hanging out and dancing, and it looks like something I'm going to really love. And I love Mark Ruffalo and Cooper Raiff working together. That's wonderful. And then his other thing he's working on is the untitled HBO Brad Inglesby project, which is basically Brad Ingleby's follow-up to Mayor of Easttown, which was great, that stars Mark Ruffalo, Emilia Jones from Cat Person, and then 2 great Irish stars, Alison Oliver and Sam Keeley.
Very good.
And then Owen Teague, who is the most Lucien-ass young star, is also in it from Mrs. Fletcher, and Mickey Sumner from Frances Ha is in it as well. And this sounds great, and this has been shot in Philadelphia. It's like a Philadelphia cop thing, and it's going to be on HBO soon. Those both sound like TV shows that I will actually watch and love. Mm-hmm. So I think he's doing good stuff. On his Wikipedia credits, we also have music videos, 2020, song, Imagine, artist, Gal Gadot and Friends, role, himself. Probably the worst thing on his credits.
The intent was good. He's a man of good politics.
He's got great politics. He's constantly, for some reason, endorsing the Irish Green Party because he's just like, a Green Party that does well. I got to get behind this.
Yeah.
It is naive but harmless. He is a Bernie Sanders supporter, pro-Palestinian. It's almost remarkable that he's as sort of.
He seems like someone who only works with good.
Yeah, I guess so. But he works for fucking Marvel Studios. But he's incredibly employed for somebody who is so pro-Palestinian and has always been.
Yes.
His record has always been great. The only people in Hollywood who have relentlessly been pro-Palestinian going back 15 years are him, of a certain generation, are him, Javier Bardem, and Penelope Cruz.
Tim Robbins?
Tim Robbins a little bit as well.
Bit. He was,
But he's less employed than these 3.
Oh, very much
These
so.
are people who are put in Disney blockbusters every year and have always remained so good on Palestine, and it's hugely admirable. So, huge shout for Mark Ruffalo. I've only ever heard positive things about people who have met him and worked with him. So, great guy. Hope I get to meet him and hang out with him someday. Mm-hmm. And that is Begin Again. Charming film.
Yeah.
Pro Begin Again. Go watch it, guys. You'll have a good time.
Nothing more to say about Mr. Director Man.
Yeah, I'll do my John Carney ranking. It's an easy one because it is a It's very it's a slope downwards.
Yeah.
But Begin Again is my favorite John Carney movie. I would say then Sing Street number 2. I would say Once number 3. I would say Flora and Son, and then a bit of a distant number 4. They obviously try and kind of repeat the casting choices here. We're putting Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that. And then I would say Zonad number 5. And then I haven't seen On the Rocks, whatever it is, the On the Edge, the Cillian Murphy one. I haven't seen that.
Huh.
And then there's the horror film he made that no one has ever seen since it premiered at Galway, which it's a missing film. Oh. And then he's of course got his new film Power Ballad, which sounds a lot of fun with Paul Rudd, which is just shot in Dublin. So, and also the TV show Modern Love, also very charming Prime Video show. So a lot of good stuff there in Mr. Carney's career. Keep up the good work. And now we're going to play Box Office and Credits Game. So, Credits Game first. This is where I'm going to read out the cast list of a movie starring one of these 2 stars to Shane, according to how it's listed on Letterboxd. I'm going to read it from bottom to top, and we'll see how fast Shane can guess what the movie is without hearing the name of the star. So, I am going to pick a film very quickly. And the film that I pick is going to be...
Don't give him the name.
I've picked my film. I picked one. All right. The year is 2010.
Great.
Let's go. Janelle Kerfman, Show Brown, Will I Am.
Okay.
Ari Grainer, John Bernthal, Shyam Frankel, Gillian Vigman, Jay Razor, Darren Legallo, Lauren Weedman, Gal Gadot.
Okay, we'll stop there for a second. How much should I be looking into, like, Will I Am here?
I had no sense of Will I Am being in this.
Is it animated?
No. Incredible cast list.
Right.
This is the film we're 100% doing on Boy Party at some point.
Okay.
Let's give them something away. 100%. Gal Gadot. Yeah.
Right, keep going.
Olivia Munn.
Is this an X-Men?
No.
No?
This cast gets better. Like, it gets better from here. Keep going.
Fuck. I feel like I should know all of Olivia Munn's films. Keep going.
Nick Kroll. Savannah Page Ray.
This is like is this like the film where Maya Rudolph throws a party? No. Or no, she's the or Tina Fey and Amy Schumer. No.
Tina Fey and Amy Schumer.
Sorry, not Amy Schumer. Amy.
It is not a film where Tina Fey and Amy Poehler host a party. Sisters. No.
Sisters.
I'll tell you some. Here's like a little clue. Director of this movie, we've covered one of his films on this podcast.
Okay.
And one of the 2 leads has been covered.
Right.
Bill Burr, Mila Kunis. I'll keep going.
Bill Burr, Mila Kunis.
James Franco, Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig.
Okay.
J.B. Smoove, Leon from Curb. Leighton Meester.
Right.
William Fichtner.
Okay.
Common. Inexplicably Fifth Build.
Has it got music in it? Is it a musical?
No, music is not part of the plot. No.
Okay.
Inexplicably Fifth Build is Jimmy Simpson.
Don't know who that is.
He's like the guy in the newsroom who like sits on the train and listens to Alison Pill's phone call.
Oh, that guy.
Or the other way around.
The other way around.
No, he's the guy who's with her eavesdropping on the third
guy.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like pretty sure Ray Liotta's in this film and he's not on this cast list. Anyway, Taraji P. Henson. 3 names left. Keep going. Mark Wahlberg. He is not one of the stars.
Mark Wahlberg.
I think Mark Wahlberg maybe has the and.
Okay.
There's 2 more. Like, keep going. Cool. Tina Fey.
Okay, I wasn't. Okay, go on.
Steve Carell.
Is this Date Night?
Date Night.
This is Date
Sean
Night.
Levy's Date Night. What a fucking stacked cast.
What the fuck?
I don't remember any of those people.
I remember seeing this film like
I've seen it multiple
10
times.
years ago.
I've seen it like 3 times.
Boring.
I think it's good. I like it.
I packaged this in with like The Sitter as a double bill.
Right.
Like,
no, it's much better than The Sitter. Okay. I remember Mark Ruffalo is like the friend at the start that Steve Carell is like having a private conversation with.
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo is like, oh, me and the wife, things are getting tough. You need to go on a date night. I don't know who the wife, I think his wife might be Olivia Munn. Anyway, we got to watch it soon. That's all our favorites are in it. Like fucking Will I Am.
Who's the director?
Sean Levy.
Yeah.
All right. Give me the box office.
Le box office.
Beginning End release. Sorry, Beginning End. We also should mention the whole retitling thing is a fucking Harvey Weinstein situation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, released by the Weinstein Company, June 27th, 2014. But I will say, Carney does work with Weinstein again on Sing Street, so probably didn't get too messed around by him. Anyway.
Uffig Buska.
Yeah. The movie's total gross worldwide is $67 million, which is very good.
That is very good.
On a budget of 8. Like, that's
fantastic.
That's, to me, a bit of a... That's a testament to these two stars. Like,
box office. Yeah. What's number 1 this week?
Number 1 in June 2014. Right. Is it 22 Jump Street?
No.
Shit.
This film came out this week.
Okay, it came out this week.
Yeah.
I have a very good knowledge of this month because I was doing...
Jump Street came out 2 weeks beforehand.
I was blogging and podcasting. Okay. June 2014. Is it animated?
In a sense.
In a sense.
No, it's got heavily CGI, but it's not animated.
CGI. June 2014. Is this...
It's got a colon in the title.
It's got a colon in the title. Is it superheroes?
No.
No superheroes. June 2014. God. This is like the 1 week where I'm blanking a little bit.
Would have been a big hit. Probably made a couple $100 million.
Yeah. Is it for kids?
Kinda, yeah. You gave it 3 stars. Let's see what your
review. Hopefully.
Yes, and it's you give a 1-line review that features a link, I believe. And it says, "This scene is too brilliant to call this movie bad."
What the hell? This scene is too brilliant to call this movie bad.
Yeah, it's a scene you quote a lot. If I'm correct.
I don't know what this is. You gotta give me some clues. Genre, anything, themes.
It's like part of a franchise.
That's not enough. I need more.
Really?
I'm struggling with this one. Yeah, I'm blanking on what was out. Big movies. Oh, Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Yes,
starring Jack Rayner from Flora and Son and Sing Street.
Oh my god!
No, two great scenes. Yeah. 2 great scenes. Number 1 great scene is Stanley Tucci in the back of the car going, "Oh my god!" And then the number 2 great scene is Titus Welliver shows up to Mark Wahlberg's farm. Mark Wahlberg goes, "You can't come in here. You don't have a warrant." And Titus Welliver goes, "My face is my warrant." The second best Transformers.
Is this the one where Jack Rayner has to explain?
It's the only Jack Rayner one. Yes, it is.
Why?
The one where, yes, he has to explain the consent laws in Texas.
Oh god, okay.
That's a good film.
Sure,
a lot of fun.
165 minutes.
I know. If you ever turn that film on TV, it will always be the scene where Stanley Tucci is shouting, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, it happens 4 times in the film.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Okay, number 2, 22 Jump Street.
Yeah.
Fine.
Sure. Boy Party at some point. Oh yeah, sure. It was in our bracket.
We're gonna do the first one though.
First one. Next up.
Yeah, I need a clue.
A sequel.
A sequel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
What's a big sequel of the year? Animated.
2014 big sequel animated. No, I don't know. I need another clue. I'm just tired and I'm forgetting stuff. Big sequel animated.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who the voices are in this. It's someone.
It's not Pixar. It's what would it be?
Okay, we've got a bit of T.J. Miller doing a voice, some Kristen Wiig, G-Mon.
G-Mon is in it.
G-Mon. These are all like 7th and 8th.
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
Got a bit of America Ferrera voicing in there.
I don't know what this is.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
What the hell? It's not Monsters University. It's the year before.
Jonah Hill.
2014. Jonah Hill. What the hell? Animated sequel.
Kit Harington.
What? Lego Movie. No.
Craig Ferguson.
I don't know what this is.
Jared Butler.
I don't know what this is.
Kate Blanchett. Second build.
How to Train Your Dragon 2.
How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Very forgettable.
Jake Baruchel.
Very forgettable films. Okay.
The lead.
All right, keep going.
Okay, this is something I actually have to look up because I've never heard of this, unfortunately.
You've never heard of this? What could this be? It's going to be some fucking horror shit. It's not some like Annabelle or something.
No, it's this is a
concert film? What are you missing here?
This is a film with an entirely black cast.
Oh, right, okay. Is it called like
Kevin Hart's in there.
It's not like he's the man, she's the man, or
Think Like a Man.
Think Like a Man.
Think Like a Man.
Think Like a Man 2?
Yep. No, first one.
Oh, the first one. Oh.
Got Kevin Hart, Regina Hall.
Oh, yeah. The famous actors.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty good.
Michael Ealy is the lead.
Yes, Michael Ealy. Probably somewhere in the Tyler Perry sphere.
Did these kind of films get released in Ireland?
No.
No, not at all.
No, I wouldn't think so. I would say Kevin Hart movies started getting released in Ireland around 2014.
Yeah.
An all-black comedy would not get released in Ireland
mm-hmm.
otherwise, even if it had Regina Hall in it, I don't think. Girls Trip did, but Girls Trip was just such a hit, I think they had to release it in Ireland. No, often they don't. There isn't a market for that here. I mean, the Tyler Perry movies never get released in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you can watch them legally on streaming at some point.
Oh, I'm sure.
They must be on like Apple or Amazon. Anyway.
All right, we got a Robert Stromberg film.
That movie would be R.I.P.D. No, Stromberg. Sorry, Maleficent.
Yes, Maleficent.
Robert Stromberg was on the jury at work this year.
Oh, very good.
I emailed him. He's a very nice man.
Oh, he met the Terminal in The Aviator.
No,
he did not. He did
the
visual effects
production
artist.
designer.
Yeah.
He's the production designer on Avatar.
This is the only film he's made.
Yes,
directed.
the production design on Avatar were so good that they were like, you can direct a movie.
Yeah.
And then for the second Maleficent, they were like, never mind, we'll get an actual director. And you know what? He was more than happy to be on my production design jury. No complaints.
Using him for directing as well?
No, I put him on production design. No complaints.
He wasn't like, he didn't come back.
He is like the most.
Do you want me to do directing?
He's like the most Oscar-nominated production designer alive. Like
yeah.
he's aware of his territory.
Sure.
Anyway.
He does a good job.
To be fair, Bo Welch, in my opinion, very successfully went from being Tim Burton's production designer to being the director of The Cat in the Hat. He did then never direct a film again and only directed episodes of a series of unfortunate events on Netflix, but carry on.
I'd say we'll wrap it up.
Yeah,
This is the Clint Eastwood of the year.
That would be the fucking Four Boys, Jersey Boys.
Jersey Boys.
Boring. Never going to watch
Then we've got a John Green novel.
Fault in Our Stars, biggest hit of the
Then
summer.
we've got a film that has the same title as this film.
What do you mean? Edge of Tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
We kind of have another film that has the same name as this film.
Oh, I don't know. What would that be?
Days of Future Past.
Oh, yes. Days of Future Past. Godzilla's probably in there somewhere.
Chef, then Godzilla.
Chef thing is... Oh, yeah. God. Chef is awful. All right. That's it, everybody. Scarlett Johansson couldn't be in Beginning because she was making Chef.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thank you so much.
Watch Beginning Again.
Watch Beginning Again and endorse the careers of Mr. Ruffalo and Ms. Knightley. They
support Irish films.
Support Irish...
Yeah.
Technically not an Irish production.
Not at all.
Films by Irish filmmakers. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week and...
To begin again.
And visit boypartypod.com. Follow Boy Party Pod on all social media. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.